Hey guys, welcome back to the Friday Vlog, where we discuss activity that goes on here with the BuzWeaver channel. That includes things like current events, headlines that are in the news, pop culture, social media, technology, and items of interest that come up during the week that allow us to have a little bit of a dialogue, to include shorts, which I'm working on yet again. But I do want to thank all you guys across New Tech, as well as here on YouTube, for all of your guys' continued support.
All right, guys, we have a lot of material to work through. A lot of this material is going to be rather sensitive. So, of course, we'll adapt language to fit it within YouTube's criteria and make it family friendly. And I just want to mention here just in general that, and I mean this metaphorically, I've never really been a big fan of Russell Brand, but what's happening to him right now is very indicative of what we see with Joe Rogan and Donald Trump, and that is that these influential people become a target of the left and the establishment because they are terrified that these individuals may have influence or enough influence over people, particularly when these individuals talk about what the left does, their narratives. Very, well, not too dissimilar to what we do here on the BuzWeaver channel, but I am a small-time YouTuber. So, of course, what we do here is we take the complicated, we take the difficult, we take the tumult, we take the confusion, and try to make it as simple as possible. So I just read articles and try to give you guys an interpretation of the way things are flowing when it comes to current events and the media and the way things are being portrayed. So a lot of it, of course, is my opinion based upon just, putting the pieces together, following the dots. But nonetheless, here we go. British comedian and actor Russell Brand has lost his ability to make money on YouTube. The BBC has removed some programs featuring the star from its streaming platforms, and scheduled tour stops in the UK and Australia have been cancelled as investigations continue into claims about assault behavior against women at the peak of his fame between 2006 and 2013, which he has vehemently denied. Now, so ladies and gentlemen, as we have talked about here on the BuzWeaver channel for years, the left, the establishment, the outrage mob, cancel culture have no limits as to how far back they will go. Of course, some of the discussions is why weren't these allegations brought up earlier, or why wasn't an investigation launched, or why weren't criminal proceedings and other things brought up during all this time? These are very good questions, and I don't really have an answer for that, nor do I have anything to go off of other than to wait and see how this plays out, because I don't keep up with what Russell Brand has done for the last 20-something years. Some of these go all the way back to 2003, so over 20 years worth of impropriety, as some of these people are saying. So we're just covering the story because it's all just an example of how the left and others will wait till the last minute. Now, again, I am not saying all this to defend Russell Brand in the sense that I think he innocent or anything else. I'm just saying I'm just waiting for due process to happen here, and he's not getting any due process. Now, how the UK handles due process versus the United States, totally different, but we'll get into that here momentarily. So, as you can see here, his Australian leg of his performances have been canceled. YouTube has blocked him, so he's been demonetized, even though he has 6.6 million followers. Now, as you know, Donald Trump had a tremendous presence in social media, as well as Joe Rogan, and they're constantly being attacked. And, of course, President Trump at the time had been canceled, and of course we've talked about this quite often with Vijaya Gotti having suggested that that Trump's inciting was just a coded message, which was just an interpretation, very nebulous. So the BBC has also removed some of his programs, as mentioned in the article, and Pan Macmillan, a publishing company, has paused all of their publishing, and then I guess one of his main books here, Freedom from Addiction, has also been stopped. Then of course you see here 4 women accused Brand of impropriety in the investigation by the Times of London, the Sunday Times, and the public broadcast station Channel 4 over the weekend. I think it's fascinating, isn't it? How is it that these individuals, now, again, it's different between the United States and the UK. Well, the UK's media is very, very, very invasive. I mean, these people pull no punches. They are incredibly blunt. And to an extent, I'm not sure what they're held to as far as their accountability for the way they do their news, but they are vicious over there. And then, of course, in addition, more women have since come forward. And then the Metropolitan Police told the Times it received a report on Monday on a 2003 impropriety situation that went on. So, as I said earlier, these things have been going on for over 20 years. So, why would they have waited all this time to now decide to pile on, as I like to put it, because over the last several days, just in certain forums that I've been in and or social media, I have seen a lot of pile on, even in some of my own posts and responses to people responding to me. Now, it isn't so much that it's uncommon for me to receive these across social media. It's just that I've just noticed lately that it just seems to be much more tuned up than it used to be. So literary agencies also have dropped the brand. And of course, you have all these other issues going on with him. BBC has gone viral after Brand, who was in his 30s when the clip arrived in 2007, suggesting that a young woman involved in a adult activity themed party. So we can clearly see here that this has just, been going on for quite some time, even back when he was married to Katy Perry. Some of you guys may remember him from the marriage with Katy Perry. And so, of course, as we just mentioned here, YouTube suspends Russell Brand from making money off his channel and, being demonetized and so forth. The guy's got 6.6 million followers, so he probably makes at least $100,000 a year just off of ad revenue. YouTube said in a statement earlier Tuesday that it had suspended monetization on Brand's channel for violating its creator responsibility policy. If a creator's off-platform behavior harms our users, employees or ecosystem, we take action to protect the community. Now this is called MOB, M-O-B, and we'll get into that, manifested observable behavior. This was something that was very disturbing and troubling that happened years ago. And you can see here, going back to 2007, manifest observable behavior, how to draw the line in content moderation. It was absolutely extraordinary. Because in 2017, Patreon CEO Jack Conte made an unusual move. He published a YouTube video explaining an internal company decision about why he moved to ban a specific user, that's Lauren Southern, as you see there, from his crowdfunding membership platform. The video was downvoted 10,000 times on YouTube, and it received almost no mainstream press. And of course, at the time, as it was described, is that Lauren Southern was there in the Morocco area where a lot of the immigrants were coming in, and they were on boats and so forth, and she apparently lit off a flare or something to that effect to kind of indicate where this boat was, and they were suggesting that the flare could have created a problem, or the flare could have caused injury and this sort of thing, and they were just looking for anything to go after Lauren Southern at that time. She's a Canadian YouTuber, she's a Canadian citizen, and self-described journalist and activist member of she doesn't belong to a white nationalist group, Defend Europe. That's just an absurd title that it was given. But so this manifested observable behavior is something that the platforms like to use as an excuse to pile on. So basically mob, which is interesting because it seems like a mob pile on, is what they try to use to go after people with. It's absolutely shameful. So Russell Brand dropped by agent following allegations, right? We now believe we were horribly misled. So now they're trying to suggest that somehow Russell Brand kind of knew all this was going to happen for some reason, as though he was keeping all of this in a locked box somewhere, and he was going to need to build an empire of influence to be able to overcome it all so that he could influence all these people into believing that his impropriety in the past is just a manifestation of the outrage mob and cancel culture. And we'll get into that. It's absolutely extraordinary. In a joint investigation released by the Times, the Sunday Times, and Channel 4. So here you go. You have the mainstream media, part of that establishment uniparty, which is a little different in UK versus the United States. But you guys get it. The leftists, the cancel culture, the outrage mob. On Saturday, 16th of September, the comedian and actor has been accused of impropriety with women between 2006 and 2013. So I don't know why they don't go back to 2003. But at this point, it's not really... it's not as relevant because the whole idea here is to pile on to Russell Brand. So I want to emphasize here, I'm going to wait and see what happens because I'm making the video so everyone can be aware of this type of activity. Not necessarily what Russell Brand has done, nor do I suggest, endorse, or try to defend his actions because I don't know what all is involved or what all happened. So I'm just waiting to see. I'm just outlining the fact that we have seen in recent years individuals like Joe Rogan, like Donald Trump, And now Russell Brand, these prominent figures, and of course even going back to Tommy Robinson, when I used to cover Tommy Robinson, another UK citizen who was an activist there, the way he was treated was absolutely astounding. But as you can see, there's a combination of these agencies or news agencies there in the UK that are also pursuing him. And here's something even more interesting from Forbes magazine. Rumble slams disturbing requests from UK government over Russell Brand's content. So basically what is happening in this pile-on is that the UK and perhaps even the networks over there in the UK are all jumping on platforms to try to get Russell Brand removed or banned or suspended or demonetized. So very similar to what they did to Donald Trump. The UK government is questioning social media companies about whether Russell Brand is able to monetize his content on their sites, sparking accusations of overreach. Absolutely. You guys may remember when we talked about Enrico Tarrio, who is now facing many years in jail over January 6th, despite the fact that he wasn't actually there. And of course, we knew that. And also Laura Loomer, who both were lost part of one of their banking accounts because their banking accounts was at Chase, and then it was Wells Fargo, were contacted by activists, and the activists say something to the effect of, did you know that you have an individual who's a white supremacist, this, that, and the other, as part of your client, as one of your clients to your company? Oh, how horrible it would be if people found out that you were allowing a supremacist or activist or domestic terrorist to be part of your institution, part of your financial institution. And then, of course, they got, and then other things go on. But so in other words, they were, there's a sense of there's this bully activity to shut these people down. But Enrique Tarrio, as well as Laura Lomer went through these bullying tactics and were basically canceled, I guess, or their accounts were shut down. It's absolutely shameful to see the behavior. Following an investigation by the Times, the Sunday Times, and Channel 4 Dispatch program, Brand has been accused. Okay, so we know all this, but so they're just basically piling on. But here's the message from Rumble, and this is just extraordinary and worth sharing with you guys. Rumble's response to the UK Parliament letter to our CEO. Today we received an extremely disturbing letter from a committee chair in the UK Parliament. While Rumble obviously deplores this type of activity and crimes and believes that both alleged victims and accused are entitled to a full and serious investigation, it is vital to note that recent allegations against Russell Brand have nothing to do with content on Rumble's platform. So this is an American company here. I am part of Rumble. If you guys haven't already, be sure to, there's a link down below. Follow me on Rumble as well. Your support there is always appreciated too, the new tech. Just yesterday, YouTube announced they based a sole on the media accusation. So you guys got that. We regret it is. We regard it as a deeply inappropriate and dangerous that the UK Parliament would attempt to control who is allowed to speak on our platform or to earn a living from doing so. Singling out an individual and demanding his ban is even more disturbing given the absence of any connection between the allegations and his content on Rumble. So there you have it. Finally, a common sense platform that is questioning and realizes and recognizes what has happened to individuals like Joe Rogan, has happened to Donald Trump. Of course, Donald Trump has now been restored on all these platforms because he is a presidential candidate. But of course, as we know and we cover here, the left and the establishment media, as well as Democrats, are trying to shut down Donald Trump, as we've seen many, many times. And here we have it. BBC and Channel 4 investigate Russell Brand. So who are these people? Who are these individuals who have made themselves the arbiters of what can and can't be seen or posted on platforms? Now, I was trying to find a section on Twitter, or now X, on how this is being handled. Did Russell Brand know this was all coming? Fellow comics and experts claim Starr spent 4 years grooming online cult following to support him when allegations became public. This is absolutely absurd. So what they're basically suggesting here is that Russell Brand was aware that 20 years down the road, this could all become a problem for him. So he had better start a channel for himself across social media and then start talking about how these particular types of narratives and the behavior of the media and the behavior of cancel culture and outrage mob and wokeness, he had to be able to contemplate all of this stuff, have pre-knowledge of it all, have the intuition and foresight to realize that all this was going to happen in the future. And so he had to create a channel to be able to influence people so that he would be able to point out the fact that he was being wrongfully accused. How extraordinarily ridiculous is that, ladies and gentlemen? I would love to give I would love to get your thoughts and opinions about that and just the entirety of what's going on. Is Russell Brand just another individual being targeted in a coordinated effort by the Uniparty, by the establishment, by the UK establishment, by platforms to shut down an individual who has for many years pointed out the absurdities and narratives and behaviors of the mainstream media? So you guys will have to let me know down in the comments what your thoughts are. And that's what I had for you guys this Friday.
All right, guys, so that's going to wrap it up for this Friday vlog. Thank you for the likes, the shares, and the comments. And, of course, all you guys across New Tech, as well as here on YouTube. You guys have been amazing. Thank you so much for your support. And, of course, below this video, you can find the various Amazon influencer links. So if you have Prime or you order from Amazon frequently, by all means, use those links as it does help out the channel. And for all of you guys here on YouTube, that would be the channel icon appearing there right there on the screen. You can click on that to subscribe, as well as to select notifications. That way you know when there's content here on the channel. And I'll see all you guys right there behind the Galaxy phone camera next week.